Hey everyone, welcome to another MLM dumpster fire, and dumpster fire indeed. You may even use this word up here that I'm not allowed to say in the first 30 seconds of the video. So we're back to watch yet another podcast from Eric Worre, and this time his guest is Justin Prince. So when I saw that, I was intrigued because I'm curious on what Justin has been up to since he's been terminated from O'Dare. So I guess we're gonna find out today. This is gonna be a lengthy one. I think this first part, it's a two-parter. This first part is 40 minutes and then the second part is like 50 minutes or even an hour. So buckle up and please come back for part 2. Don't forget to click that like and subscribe button if you'd like to support my channel. That's a nice free way to do that. And as always, big shout out to all my channel members. I do appreciate you guys. Most of you always come back for parts 2 and that means a lot. And this is gonna be painful, so let's just get into it. We can suffer together. I'm gonna skip the intro because there's like a little bit of an intro where highlights from Justin.
Welcome to the Excellence Project. My name is Eric Worre, and today I have a top network marketing earner, multi-million dollar earner, Justin Prince, who's going to be sharing ideas on how you can do better. His journey, lessons learned, how to develop leaders, how to grow organizations around the world. I think you're going to find it fascinating. He and I resonate on so many different things. So with no further ado, let's jump into my conversation with Justin Prince. Justin Prince, how are you?
Brother, what an honor to be here. Appreciate it.
It's my great pleasure. We had a long dinner last night, sat around and talked. And actually, if the mic was on during that period of time, it would be a pretty interesting
some good hot takes.
Yeah, some good hot takes. So you've been involved in the profession for how long?
This fall, so here in the next couple months, 18 years.
18 years.
Yeah.
And give me your quick backstory. Like,
Yeah.
where'd you come from?
Yeah, from Salt Lake City, Utah. My folks got divorced when I was 12. I was my mom's oldest, so my dad was married, my mom's oldest. So when that happened, I moved in with my mom. We moved 13 times the next 7 years in those teenage years, and I was the oldest at home. Had no professional background, so I was making pizzas. I was doing construction work, kind of odds and end construction work, and then I worked at a mall kiosk. I tease people that the malls where all of us used to go when the Amazon was a river. All the old people know what that is. All the young people are like, "What's a mall?"
Mm-hmm.
And I sold animated Bible videos out of a mall kiosk. This is my job. I have no college education. I had about a semester and a half of college, but I always had big dreams and big goals, and just like one day, I'm going to make something of my life, And I felt like I always needed like an opportunity or a vehicle or an apparatus to do it.
I feel like the tone that I'm getting from him right now is like, oh, I had no college education, so, I had no chances of being big or being successful or things. I know he didn't say that, but that's just the tone that I'm picking up maybe from him. You let me know down below if you disagree or agree, but I know plenty of people who are successful, who earn good salaries, who have great careers without college. You don't need college. Well, sometimes you do, depends what you go into, but you don't necessarily need college to be successful. I have a bachelor's degree in tourism, culture and tourism, that I never used, not for a single day. I have nothing from that degree, and I spent 4 years and a lot of money on finishing for that degree, finishing college. So with video editing and freelancing and things that I'm doing at the moment, I earn more than I would earn with my college degree. So your college degree doesn't necessarily dictate how much money you're gonna earn. Like I said, sure, for healthcare or things like that, you have to go to college, but you know what I'm trying to say, you don't necessarily need it to be successful, which is kind of what I'm picking up from him, that he's kind of just trying to say, oh, the odds were against me, but I'm still successful. But then on the other hand, in my opinion, you're a scammer. You joined network marketing where the majority of people never make any profit. Only top 1% or less earn money based on everyone below them's hard work. The way you're bragging about it, it's not great. I would not brag about that.
Vehicle or an apparatus to do it. I had the work ethic, I had the dream, and 25 years old, I get introduced to network marketing. We were talking about this last night. I had for whatever reason, I don't know why, a visceral negative response to it, a negative reaction to it.
Why? What was the?
I think it was this.
Had you
when
heard?
You work at a mall kiosk?
Okay.
Yep, you get hit up back in those days, right? People would walk by, "Hey, son, you want a real opportunity?" And I never had been, in essence, professionally invited or I didn't look at it as someone that had a lot of salt. They go get in a clunker car out in the parking lot, but they're out, hustling people in the mall. It felt kind of cheesy to me.
You didn't feel like successful people did this.
Yes.
Did you know anybody that was involved?
Yes, I did.
And
here's
prior
what's
to this,
interesting.
and
Yes.
did they have any success?
Yes. So right before my folks got divorced, we were
One thing I'm noticing in these podcasts that are supposed to be like these big professionals and successful MLM people, whatever, coaches, is they constantly, not just Justin and Eric right now, but in all, I think we watched 1 or 2 episodes, or maybe like 1 episode with Steve and Gina from Lifeway, by the way. And then that fitness lady, which I don't remember her name, we watched a clip from her, but they constantly talk over each other. If you're trying to have a professional podcast and professionals for guests, that's debatable, professional scammers in my opinion, don't speak over each other. Let him finish and you let him finish as well. That's what she said, right? But
kind of a middle class family. And my dad, this literally happened. Like we made this move when I was 12, and then 3-4 months later, the whole thing fell apart. We moved to this really beautiful neighborhood. It was like a gated community neighborhood. So I felt like we were the poor family in the rich neighborhood is what I felt like, And one of the guys there, we talked about him last night. He was driving, this is in 2000, or this is in 1991, 92. He's driving a Hummer. Yeah. This is like the Gulf War, right? So you're watching on CNN, and he's got like an actual Hummer.
And who's the guy? Go ahead.
Craig Tillotson.
Craig Tillotson, one of the legends.
One of the true legends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were kids. I just knew his daughter was cute. We all like tried to hang out with all the cute girls. And so I remember seeing him, and they said he's in this network marketing company. And I remember thinking, I didn't know, by the way, they said he was in this company. I didn't know what network marketing was. I didn't know what that company was, but all I knew is he was the rich guy. We'd all pointed his house.
Making money.
That's the rich guy's house, And so years later, I get this call. A medical doctor friend of mine calls me, and I feel this visceral reaction, but it was him, so I couldn't hang up on him. I couldn't be like, dude, I'm not into that stuff, because of the respect I had for the doctor. And then I remember thinking, Eric.
So a doctor called you.
Yeah.
A doctor calls you.
Yeah. And he was probably in his 50s. I was in my 20s. So I had a lot of respect for this guy. I still do.
And you were working in the mall at the time?
Yes, absolutely.
So a doctor who's very successful in his 50s calls you in your 20s.
Yes.
And because you have some preconception that unsuccessful people don't do this.
People that couldn't do something legit would do this.
But it had to be kind of confusing for you.
It was absolutely confusing. You want to know what's so interesting?
Where's this disconnect?
No question. I remember thinking, who conned you into conning me into doing one of those things? Because he's a legit guy. And I also, true story, my little boy, to get emotional telling you the story. My little boy's about 1.5 years old, and sitting in the back. I have 1 child at this time, right? I now have 4 kids. And I'm looking at the rearview mirror like this. I was taking him to Cabela's. If you've ever been to like a Cabela's, they have the mounts everywhere. My little boy loves animals still to this day. So I'd take him, I'd hold him, and he'd look at it, and I pointed all the, the stuffed animal, the mounted animals. So I'm driving and I look up in the mirror, and I remember thinking, like, what if this is that thing that I knew one day, if I had an opportunity, I'd go for it. And I thought I wanted to make my little boy proud, as a father, and I wanted to make my wife proud as a young husband, And I was just like, man, what if this is that thing? And I'm like, if it's good enough for Dr. Anderson, maybe, I was like, I'm not going to turn it down out of hand. Right.
Sometimes I wonder, these people, these top leaders in MLMs, I think that most of them, all of them, in my opinion, know that they are scamming people. They know that the majority of people in their downline are not making any money, but in my opinion, again, they don't care because they're the ones who make all the money, the people at the top. So when they say things like this, like, oh, I want my little boy to be proud, I want my wife to be proud of me, I want to be successful and blah, blah, I want to make them proud. Surely they're just talking about money, right? They see success only through money, and it doesn't matter how you get to have that much money and make your family proud. It's all about the money, right? So if you have money, you're successful. It doesn't matter that you're scamming hundreds of thousands of people out of money so that you have that money. So what kind of an example are you setting to your kids though, if you got rich in unethical ways? Again, that's just my thoughts on that one. You can let me know down below what you think about that.
So to fast forward, I joined this first company. I asked whatever questions I knew how to ask, due diligence. I didn't know which is not much. And I just went for it. Just ignorance on fire, big dreams, big goals.
So was this doctor successful in the business?
No, this is an actually interesting story. He quit very shortly after, 2 weeks after.
Wow.
The guy that recruited him quit, and that guy was recruited by the company. So I was like an orphan. I was literally on an orphan island all by myself. No leadership, no mentorship. I was just this guy, out there. And it's one of the reasons I have a really soft spot in my heart for you, you specifically, is there's a lot of what I would call orphan networkers. And what I mean by that is like, the guy that recruited them has already quit. That person was recruited by the guy that already quit. They have all the hopes and dreams, and they're willing to put in the effort, but they don't have any coaching or any mentoring or they don't really know what to do. That was me. And so I was just so hungry to learn. I would just listen to anything I could and, buy things, and I didn't have the money to buy it, but I'd buy it, just to see if I could learn and accelerate my learning curve. I used to sneak into, we talked about Nathan. I used to sneak into Nathan's meetings.
Nathan Ricks.
Yeah. I
rest in peace.
Oh, one of the greats.
Great guy.
I modeled him for years, and I wasn't even in his company. I was so hungry. It's like Kobe modeled Jordan. And I'm not trying to compare, I'd compare him to a Jordan in our profession, but I'm not trying to compare me to Kobe, but I'm just saying I said, who's the best at this? Who's the best? And again, it's one of the reasons I have a soft spot in my heart for what you do is I feel like you, for both the top leaders in our game, but then also just everybody, like people have someone they can come to and say, all right, how do I do this? And what am I supposed to do? And they're getting real training versus just, hype. And in England, they used to take the cappuccino, the froth, they would slice off the froth and they would fry it. And it was called fried froth. And they said it was the kind of thing you could eat all day and never be hungry. And I felt like some of the stuff in networking was just kind of just
platitudes, rhymey stuff,
and
interesting. As someone who has watched quite a lot of clips from Eric, I don't think that his trainings are very good personally. Again, you can let me know down below what you think about Eric's training, but as most of the other MLM coaches, I feel like his training is very useless. I feel like he comes off as condescending and a smart ass in a way. Like his attitude, I don't like his attitude at all when he's talking to these people on these conferences and in his videos. Like he just comes off arrogant to me personally. That's my opinion. But also like just his advice and the stuff that he says, I don't think personally that I watched his training where I thought, well, okay, this might be useful to someone. I don't think so. So I don't think that he's any different than any other MLM coaches, but okay, I guess.
Just like there's no meat to this. There's no real, it's like get in early and, just something like, okay, but what happens when it's not early anymore, kind of thing. It's interesting when I was coming up, I remember thinking if I ever become successful at this game, I'm not going to just do the rhymey stuff. I'm going to like really try and teach people the best that I can to like really, we probably had similar realizations that way of like, I'm going to like try and help people like do this thing for reals. So I grew in that company. It took me a number of years to get going. But eventually that company went out of business.
Hold on for 1 second. First of all, before we get into that, the thing that worked for me at the time was coming in expecting help, not getting it. Because in the structure that I was in, my father and his partner were involved in real estate, and they were completely immersed in their real estate venture. So they're my upline. The person above that, and the way the compensation structure worked, person above that was kind of arrogant and absent, and was like, I was like,
funny that I just said that I think Eric is arrogant. What an irony.
Like this little kid, it wasn't worth his time.
Yeah, of course.
And by the time it got up to somebody who would be helpful for me, I was outside of their pay structure.
Yeah.
So they didn't really have there was motivation.
No
to be able to
incentive.
work.
Yeah.
So I was like, what do I do? And one thing I'd be curious in your 18 years, because I know my answer for 35 years. If you take people who had an amazing upline, who just did everything for them as one group of people, call it 100 people, and then a group that had no upline support at all and had to figure it out themselves. Which group ultimately it was more successful?
You know, let me give you a philosophical answer. You've watched kids that went through just pain, dude. They were a lot of challenge, a lot of strife in their life. And man, that strife just built strength, you know, and they made it through. And that's part of what created the character, right? But like, I've done a lot of work with John Maxwell.
Mm-hmm.
My son and I were sitting with John in Costa Rica. We were doing he calls them his country transformations. We're sitting at a restaurant that night. It's kind of out on the patio. It's just kind of a sweet, magical night. It goes me, my son, John. And my son turns to him. He goes, John, you and I have something in common. My son was 17 at the time. And John goes, what's that, Isaac? And he said, we both have really great parents. And Isaac said to me, he goes, I sometimes feel like, you know, I don't have the rags to riches story, but I still want to serve people. And John said, you don't need, you know, you don't need the rags to riches story. You can still go serve people. John his dad was his greatest mentor, and those lessons he learned from his dad are just so sweet, you know? So likening that to networking, mm-hmm. Some of us had no upline support, no mm-hmm. leadership support. And that's actually what created us, you mm-hmm. know, the character. Mm-hmm. And then some of us had great leaders. Like we both are friends with Kenton Worthington.
Yeah.
Kenton didn't start with Nathan, but Kenton had Nathan. And Nathan's one of his great, dear mentors, but Kenton's as strong as they get individually. So there's a combination of both. What I would say is this. The way I would look at it is it's three words that are the process. It's dream, struggle, victory. They're all equal or commensurate. So in other words, what a lot of us want is big dream, small struggle, big victory, right? And when we have this, and by the way, if you want small struggle, that's okay. You just have to have a small dream and small victory. It's okay. In other words, you can choose, but don't kid yourself, right? Big dreams require the struggle. Even if you have a great mentor, you still got to pay the price. I tell people it's time and effort. It's going to take time and it's going to take effort. The more effort you put in, you can collapse the time, but it still takes time. The less effort you put in, the more time it's going to take, but it still takes effort. You got to put both.
Except that doesn't work for MLMs, Justin, because in MLMs, the majority of people never make any profit, which is proven by the FTC. It's confirmed by the income disclosure statements that a lot of the MLMs out there put out, which show that the majority of people never make any profit. It doesn't matter how long they spend in the company. It doesn't matter how many years, it doesn't matter how much effort they put in. Business model is set up so that the majority of people are going to fail. So it doesn't matter if you put less effort in, it's going to take you more time. To do what? If you put more effort in it, you're still not going to make any money. You're still not going to profit from the MLM. Unless you have a big social media following, which you can then recruit into the MLM, or if you are joining an MLM at its early stages when it's launching and things like that. So it has nothing to do with the amount of effort that you put in.
You got to pay the price either way. And so if you find yourself with a great upline mentor, I mean, you still got to pay the price, but good for you. And if you don't, the business you still can go build. I became the number 3 earner, national spokesperson. You remember I don't know if they even have this anymore, but like the Success from Home magazine or your Business from Home magazine or whatever. Like mm-hmm. I'm the guy in the magazine. You know, you're on every Barnes and Noble. So you kind of feel like I'm succeeding here. And then boom, one day it went out of business. Yeah. I literally had grown man tears coming down my face. I thought, I'm done with this whole business, like entrepreneur thing. I'm done with network marketing. I'm just done. You're just bawling your eyes out.
It's embarrassing.
And what had happened is financially, I'd build up a little bit of a savings doing my little Bible sales job. And by the way, build it up with the intention that one day I'd start a business. I was like trying to think, I'm going to be a business guy, you know? And so I'd burn through the savings to finally get full time. And so when it happened, I was actually below zero financially, back on credit cards, back on tax. So I was in a precarious financial situation. In fact, at that point, I moved my pregnant wife and our 2 kids into the loft above my wife's parents' garage. I'm 27 years old. I'm a grown man. I live in the United States of America. I have 2 part-time jobs. I work in the weekdays selling a product in the weeknights. And then I would go I picked up the animated Bible thing. I'd go sell at fairs and events all over the country on the weekends to try and hustle to keep the bills paid. And then I started another network marketing business. So here I am chasing the dream in network marketing to be free, you know, and like I'd listen to the CDs and be inspired or whatever. This was back when we had CDs too. Or, you know, go to a GoPro or, you know, you kind of like, I can do it too. If they can do it, I can do it. And there's times, Eric, I don't know if you ever went through this. I became resentful of success.
Of course.
In other words, I resented I wasn't motivated by their success. I was like, ugh. Like all the rich, happy, successful people. I was like, enough is enough, because I wasn't them.
Let me tell you a quick story. So one thing people don't.
I feel like what he just said there can happen to most of the people who are in MLM. At first, you're motivated and you want the lifestyle that the top reps have, but then after months and months or even years and years of trying and not getting there, your confidence falls, like all the rejections that you constantly get. And yeah, you probably start resenting them. You're like, what do they have and I don't? Why are they successful and I'm not? And then you feel bad about yourself. But in reality, they just got in at the right time, or they had a big following that they recruited. It has nothing to do with you. They're not better than you in any way, shape, or form. It's just the business model. The business model is the problem.
No, but if you decide to become full-time network marketing, you're in. You're going to do this. I remember my first convention. I go to, my mentor said, never miss a convention. Of course. So I
haven't missed one since. I got the same.
I'm pressed up against the wall, ready to be the first to get as close up to the front as they'll let me get. I'm taking notes. I'm excited. I'm won't even go to the bathroom. I'm ready to go. I'm filling up my notebook. I'm watching people go across the stage, and you see the different kinds of recognition, right? You see the stand up, sit down recognition.
Yes.
Stand up if you're this. Okay, sit down.
Yeah.
And then there's the fast walk recognition.
Of course.
You don't even get a picture. It's just fast walk. You get your stuff as fast across the stage as you can go. And then there's the slow walk where they say a couple words. And then there's the speech.
Of course.
Right. And I remember the first time I saw the acceptance. They get the flowers, they get the pin, they get the check, they get the trophy. And they gave I want to thank the team, and I want to thank my family, and I wrote my speech in my head.
Yeah, of course, me too.
It was just like, this is the greatest thing ever. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to be on that stage. Okay, go home.
This is funny because Eric, he said back before, or when he started network marketing, he likes to say that he was an introvert, which I, as an introvert, and I have a little bit of a social anxiety going on, I would not see people on the stage, speaking on the freaking stage, and think to myself, this is it, I want this. No, maybe I would be like, I want the money, I want the success or whatever, but I would never want to have to hold a public speech in front of hundreds or thousands of people at the conference about my success. All you introverts, let me know down below what you think about that. But I think he was not an introvert. I don't know why he keeps saying that, but I personally don't believe him when he says, I think he's just trying to be relatable to everyone and being like, I used to be an introvert before MLM. But what he just said there kind of proves that he wasn't. It's contradictory, because if you were an introvert, you probably wouldn't be looking forward or wanting to hold a public speech. Now, some introverts are okay with public speaking. Sometimes it requires for their job. I realize that I'm in front of the camera and I'm pretty comfortable in front of the camera, but it's not live. It's not public. I don't live stream because being there live with a bunch of people watching me, it just gives me such anxiety. I can't do it. Like, this is fine. I can record myself. I can take a break if I need it. I can edit it afterwards so that I look a little bit more comfortable. Maybe that I make a lot of mistakes that I edit out, obviously, out of my videos. So it's just, it's more relaxed, I guess, than live streaming or like public speaking in real life.
Life gets in the way. Come back the next time. A little beat up.
That's right.
A little bruised.
Gas is on empty.
Black eye.
Yep.
Half a cauliflower ear from getting smashed in the head.
Absolutely.
And I'm not quite up as close in the front. I'm a little bit back.
Yes.
Now I know some of this stuff. And I watch the recognition again. And dang it. If it is to be, it's up to me. I'm going to go home and make this happen. Like fourth or fifth.
Yes.
It starts to hurt.
It hurts, dude.
Because now you know these people.
Absolutely.
And you're like, this clown who's walking across the stage, here comes Charlie.
Yeah, of course.
He's going to start crying.
Of course.
Watch. 5, 4, 3, 2,
Heard the
1.
speech.
Charlie starts crying. And I told you, you tell your friends. Yeah, I told you he's going to cry. He does it every time.
Yep.
And I used to go talk to these people and so tell me of how you manage this part of the compensation plan. And they didn't even have an answer.
They had no clue, of course.
They didn't know what I knew. And they're walking and they're like, I don't even know how it happens. I just have 280,000 people on my team. And I don't know, if I could do it. And it was not empowering for me. I was mad.
Yes.
I mean, if they have a bunch of people in their team, that's exactly how it happened. Because the more you recruit, the more money you get. It's pretty simple.
And I remember, like, I don't know, 5 conferences in or 6 conferences in, having to endure the recognition because it was starting to not be motivation for me. It would make me mad and I would like question myself. But the company announced, I don't know if you ever heard this story, but the company.
That's also interesting. It just crossed my mind. The way they're talking about it, like, yeah, you start resenting the top reps and how did this clown end up at the top? How is he successful and I'm not? But at the same time, whenever there's a conference or a GoPro event or anything like that, they want as many people as they can to get there because obviously they sell more tickets, they earn more money. But again, it's a little bit contradictory that you're kind of acknowledging that conferences can be toxic for people when they start resenting the top reps. But at the same time, you're always pushing people to attend these conferences and you can't miss it for anything.
They announced that they were going to have this very big deal at the next conference if you hit this certain rank. Now, I'm full-time. I'm making enough money to keep the wolves away from the door, but I'm not rich. So I'm like, I'm going to make that rank. I'm going to do it. And so I put everything I had into that, and I came within a whisker of hitting that rank, but I didn't hit it. Called the company.
Which is almost worse.
I called the company. Can I buy it?
Yes.
Can I figure out a way? And they said, no, you either have to be there or not. And I said, come on. So here's the sicko that I am. The event happens and they have a special pre-event just for that group.
Of course.
So I went and sat outside the door and watched them go in. Okay. Just to
really,
I
was going to say, to really feel the pain.
Nope. I'm waving to my friends, walking in. I know them all. And the door closes. I felt like the door was closing on my whole dream. Right.
Wow.
And then a marching band comes up to the outside of the door. I'm the only one sitting in the hallway. And a few minutes later, they bust the doors in. Da, 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 bang, 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 bang. And they pass out this huge profit sharing check for everybody that's in the room. Everybody got a big check. Big check. So I was at dinner that night with my mentor, one of my mentors, cross-line guy, but one of my key mentors. He's passing the check around the table so everybody can dream. And I'm just like, I'm so happy for you.
Of course.
It's like, get it out of my hand as quick as possible because this is not helping. So I went, I was like, you know what? There's got to be something wrong with me. I'm glad I didn't have a lot of places to go. But the next convention, I said, okay, I'm coming back. But I was mad and I was looking for a reason to quit.
Of course.
I really was. And it was at that one I said, hold on. I'm just going to become so good that they can't ignore me.
They can't ignore me. Amen.
I'm going to be so good. I'm going to become a pro that not just in my head, but in practice, I'm going to let go of timing, positioning, trying to look for an angle or find that magical distributor.
All right. So I guess this has turned into all of your frustrations and jealousy can motivate you to become better. But again, we're talking about MLM. We're talking about network marketing, multi-level marketing, social selling, social retail, whatever you want to call it. The problem is the business model. The business model is set up so that the majority of people are not gonna succeed. They're gonna fail. Only top 1% or less make all the money. So it doesn't matter how frustrated you are or which ways you try to be successful or motivate yourself. The reality is that the business model is working against you and you're not gonna be successful. So this all is just useless to people who are in an MLM.
I'm just gonna become amazing.
Yep.
I don't have to try to get on that stage. They're going to beg me to get on that stage. And what happened in that moment when I finally made that decision is the fear left my body. All the fear just left. It just went because I was like, oh, I have a plan. It doesn't matter how long it's going to take. I'm going to go figure out these answers. And I started to approach people during that convention with, okay, how do you find prospects? How do you invite? How do you present in a way that duplicates? How do you follow up? How do you answer this question? How do you answer that question? I started to kind of create a little book of skills in order to be able to go do it. And I just had a plan. And for whatever reason, the anxiety left my body. And it didn't take long after that decision. I mean, that was 3.5 years in. And then once I made that decision, in another 3 years or so, I was at $1 million a year from just basically struggling along. So when you're talking about how it can be kind of negative sometimes, like, yes, it should be inspiring. Yes, it should be, but when you're around for a while and you're not having that breakthrough
or you were up and hit diamond or whatever the rank is, right?
You got
triple,
the pin.
You got the pin. And now you're not that anymore.
Yeah.
You're sitting back in the room and you feel like a freaking fraud now. You're like, oh, geez, dude, if anyone knows that I'm actually not even a diamond anymore, whatever the rank is.
And everybody knows.
And yeah, exactly right. So check this out. Couple things you said. When you said the fear left? So to me, it's what I call convert the hurt. So failure is an event, not a person. Failure is not final, it's fertilizer. And your success grows in this fertilizer of failure. But failure hurts. It's painful. It's painful. Particularly if you're kind of competitive and you want to win and you're trying, it hurts. And so, but you can convert the pain to fuel. Like you convert it. It's like a solar panel. Solar panel will take the solar energy of the sun, and it goes through a conversion process into electrical energy. You can turn on a light. You can run a car. A wind turbine takes the power of the wind and it converts it into energy. You can take this angst that you feel and this pain that you feel and this fear that you feel and the competitiveness that you feel, and you can convert that into fuel. So instead of it destroying your dreams, it fuels your dreams. And I'll also share this. There's reasons. You remember how you said there was reasons. You start looking for reasons to quit. You know what? I don't even like how the company does this. And by the way, the recognition takes too long. And the shipping's been a disaster lately. And you start stacking reasons.
You can always find one.
If you find enough reasons, then you can quit. And it wasn't your fault. It was the shipping. And it was all. So in other words, you're not even a quitter. Like, I would have succeeded if it wasn't for all this stuff. So what happens is in success, we start stacking reasons. But here's the thing, you can stack them on either side. So you can find reasons to quit, or you can also find reasons to keep going. Because you could also stack, hey, listen, I got dreams, I got goals. And I'll tell you this, that's what I tell people.
Okay, but I feel like personally, knowing all the facts and everything that I know from the FTC and all the income disclosure statements that I've seen from MLM companies, from all the stories that I've heard from former reps, you have more reasons to quit an MLM than you have to stay in an MLM. What would be the pro to stay in an MLM? You have 99% of chances of never succeeding. So you have 1% or less chances of being successful. That's about it.
Never resent success. Because if anyone can do it, it's at least possible. There's stages of certainty. And the lowest stage of certainty is impossible. The lowest stage of certainty. And by the way, isn't certainty an interesting word? Like one of the things last night we were talking is you're becoming in your life more certain of bigger things that you can accomplish. If you would have had that level of certainty when you were 23 years old, you wouldn't even know to relate. You'd have been like, that's impossible to do that kind of stuff. But now it's not only impossible, it's probably inevitable for you because there's stages. Lowest stage would be impossible. Then next stage up would be possible. It's at least maybe not possible for me, but it's possible in the world. Hey, if it's possible for one, it's possible for me. I'd much rather, if anyone's crossing the stage, let's do it. Let's cheer because at least it's possible, right? Next one up would be improbable. Like, yes, it's possible, but it's improbable that I'll do it. Next one up would be probable. Probable is like, I think it's likely the deck's actually stacked in my favor. The last one's inevitable. You look at dreams and goals now for your life, even big ones, even ones that would have freaked you out 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And you're like, that's inevitable. I'm going to go and chase that thing down. Not even probable. It's inevitable.
What was the thing that drove you early? Because I think it's different things for different people. They say people join for inspiration or desperation. I think a lot of times it's desperation, at least at the beginning. as a percentage of people that like they want something to change. They're dissatisfied with something in their life. For me, it was to prove people wrong. You know, I had 18 jobs before I was 23, barely, you know, got out of high school, no college, one semester of college, community college. And I wanted to prove people wrong at the beginning. And everybody who ever belittled me in the beginning, I like to use that.
Those are reasons, by the way. You can stack those reasons for fuel. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, belittle you or told you that you probably shouldn't join an MLM, that it's scammy, that it resembles a pyramid scheme? What do you mean exactly by belittling? Because I feel like there was no belittling. I feel like it was just people sharing their opinions or criticism of the MLM, of the industry that you got yourself into.
You know, like the Kobe's of the world and these different people that, or Michael Jordan.
They stack reasons.
Would look for somebody to say something about him.
question.
In order to have a record-breaking night. For me, that didn't last long.
That burns like gunpowder. Burns really hot, really fast.
Yeah, but it was good for a while. I actually kept my chip on my shoulder for a while.
Yep. You can run on a chip for bursts.
Yeah.
But you can't build an entire legacy life on chips.
And also wanting to take care of my family, be a good provider. Yep. So there was those reasons too. But I remember one thing, I just want to remember to come back to tell you that prior to making this decision about becoming a professional, and I'm just going to walk away from luck and timing and positioning and what the company's supposed to do, what my upline's supposed to do. During that event, I said goodbye to my upline. Not as friends, but as an excuse. I literally sat them down and I said, thank you for introducing me. I appreciate you thinking enough of me to get me involved. But from this moment forward, you're never going to be a reason for me not to succeed. If you're available as a resource, fantastic, but I'm never going to expect it. I've got this. I'm going to go do this. No offense, with or without you. I'm going to go all the way to the top. So, and I think that's an important conversation.
No question.
Kind of think of yourself as if you're frontline to the company.
Yeah.
But the other thing prior coming into that event was when I looked at my team, it was kind of depressing.
When you look at your back office, is depressing? I've had those.
Not the back office, just the team.
Mm-hmm.
I look at them like, that's my team.
Yeah. Of course.
Oh, that's your team?
Of course.
And
I've had that team too.
And I remember talking to a friend and said, you know, and the friend who was much more successful than me said, Eric, can I be honest with you? I said, yes, but be gentle. Because I was fragile at the moment. He said, all you did was you duplicated yourself. And I went, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but I thought that was the point, the duplication, that your team is supposed to duplicate whatever you're doing because you're more successful than them. I'm confused.
For me to attract a better team, I've got to become a better person myself.
Absolutely.
All right. They're a reflection of me. Okay. So for things to get better, I got to
better person in what way? What exactly are we talking about here?
get better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got to step up my game. I got a person. I have to be a person that I'd want to be my upline.
Yeah, of course.
You know,
be the change you wish to see, be the leader you wish to have.
And I did up until then. I was like looking for the magic distributor, the magic system.
Of course.
You know, the market that's untapped, or the angle, or the special approach that was going to help me work a little less and get a little bit more.
Of course. Yep.
And I found out that anytime you decide you want to work less and get more, the end of that road is do nothing, get everything. So that's a bad road to go down. Work less to get more. It's do more to get more, provide more value to get more, see how much value you can provide to get everything if you want. Then do what you want with whatever you get. It's fine. But I had to change all that stuff. This is all wiring in my head.
Of course.
Trying to, because a lot of people get involved in network marketing to try and shortcut, get an angle.
It's going to be the faster way.
It's going to be the faster way, which it's not. It's going to be like any entrepreneurship direction. Hey there, just a quick interruption, especially for network marketers. Whether you're just starting out or if you're ready to level up, GoPro Academy has just what you need to take your network marketing business to the next level. Get step-by-step training on how to get started or restarted the right way, and then get everything you need to earn 6 figures or more and become a network marketing pro. To learn more, just visit goproacademy.com. I've helped millions of people learn how to recruit, tens of thousands of people to reach 6 figures, and I've personally helped more than 1,000 people achieve 7-figure incomes and above in network marketing. I can help you too. Head to goproacademy.com today.
I remember editing a video for Julie Joe, and I think this was sometime last year. Yeah, because I've been editing for her for a little bit over a year. And Eric was talking about how many people he got to the point of earning $1 million income or something like that. And it was not thousands of people. I think the number was lower. And I think Julie calculated that his success rate from his training and academy was like 0.3% or something like that. Interesting how the numbers and the stories change, isn't it? I don't believe that it's thousands. I personally don't believe that, but you let me know down below what you think.
See you there. So anyway, so back to your story. So you have this company, you making any money with that company before it blew up?
The first one, I built like a 6-figure kind of income.
Yeah.
But it, again, I like had done this with my career, like taking a couple steps backwards in my job.
Yep.
To take a few leaps forward in my life and my career. So it's like long-term, short-term. But right as it kind of crossed over is when it basically went out of business. So the timing was not awesome.
Yeah. So the one thing that people don't understand inside of network marketing, and this is going to sound very unrelatable and like maybe I'm out of touch, but making just at 6 figures might be the most miserable place to be in all of network marketing.
Great
because you have the pin, you have the recognition, you have the stuff.
You're strong enough to be strong, and
you're
still
expected to pick up the tab for the team at the dinner. After you pay your taxes and expenses and everything, you got whatever your $4,000 or $5,000 a month to be able to live and do all this stuff, and you have the ego of all of this different things. And sometimes I think getting from 0 to 100,000 is just grind. The characteristic, just grind, make a decision, get mad, just grind, get it done. You're not going to have a lot of duplication. A lot of people think you will. You're not going to have a lot of time freedom. A lot of people think you will. That comes after. It's like the entry point is the grind is 0 to 100,000. Was that true for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything you just said was 100% true.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, back to everything blows up. You find a new company.
Living in the loft.
Did you think about not finding another company?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
What were you going to do if you didn't?
Well, this is one of the things that for me was I think as a listener, I'd want to hear this because this was a big deal for me. I was like, do I go do real estate? Go be an agent? Like I had enough confidence in myself, just baseline self-confidence to say, I could be successful at something. I'm willing to work hard. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to adapt. I've overcome tough things. Like I'm willing to be successful. So I was like, do I go do insurance? Do I go do real estate? Do I go do mortgages? And I just thought to myself, that it's what I call ILI. It's like a formula. The way I think about it's like a formula. So ILI would be income, lifestyle, impact. So one of the questions I asked is, where could I make the income that I'd like to make? Income upside potential. If you work at a certain amount of jobs, you say, who's the best in the world at this? And if they only make an X, Y, X, Y, or Z, then there's a cap to what the income potential of that. In networking, I thought, man, the income potential, remember like looking at the Nathan Rickses of the world and those that I was admiring at the time, they were making more per month than I was making per year. And I was like, well, that seems pretty cool. The ocean felt bigger, right? Mm-hmm. So income's 1. 2 is lifestyle. I think in networking, by the way, I would stack our ability to do all 3: income, lifestyle, impact. So income, pure an amazing life, and then also be impacting people's lives. Like, So in other words, you feel like you have some contribution. You feel like you're building positive legacy, having a positive impact in the world. Whether people make $1 zillion or no dollars, they're better because they came, the whole thing. I would make an argument that in our profession, if you're the top, you could create, because oftentimes if you make more money, your lifestyle goes down. right? Like if you work another job or work more hours, lifestyle decreases, not increases.
And early stages of network marketing, it goes down as
For
well.
sure. I agree. I'm saying the top 1 or 2%.
Yeah,
right?
I get it.
If you get into the best. Like in other words, if you were to say, to give me a chiropractor, a doctor, a real estate professional, a mortgage professional, a stock trader. So let's take multiple professions. If you're the best, so not you're suck at it, you're the best, you're top 1%. I'd stack our income, lifestyle, impact formula against any of them.
No question.
And so that to me was, I was like, I'm going to go for this thing. So I got going. So I'm living in the loft above my wife's parents' garage. I would kiss my little babies in the closet. They slept in the closet. There's 2 little kids. I'd kiss them in the morning when they were asleep because I left so early. And I'd kiss them at night when I came back and they were asleep. And just a grind. My wife was just, she was and she is. I mean, she's just such a rock.
She's sitting right here.
Yeah, she's absolutely amazing. She's just a rock. And it takes a special woman to like go through that grind, you know? Eventually, so that'd be a whole podcast, but eventually.
Well, let me ask, did you ever doubt him? No. There was never a moment that you doubted that he was going to figure it out?
Do you want to know what's funny, Eric?
She says no. She's saying no.
I laid in bed at night. It's a true story. Loft of my wife's parents' garage, pitch black, 1 a.m. And I said, "Are you awake?" Eyes closed, right?
Most of these MLM top leaders always say that they used to live in basements and garages. I just find that interesting that all of them, well, the majority of them always claim that kind of stuff.
It's pitch black in the room. It's 1 a.m. She says, "Yeah." She goes, "Are you awake?" I said, "Yeah." And I go, "Am I crazy? Like, am I chasing a fake dream? Like, is this?" It felt sometimes like a mirage in the desert. Like I can see the water and you just would run. I'm talking about building your network, right? You run, you build your team and do the meetings and do all the stuff and the trainings and go. And then you get there and it was your barren land. So you're like, are you flipping kidding me? You know? And I said, am I chasing a fake dream? And one thing that I had in her is she believed more in me than I believed in me in many of those stages. And, you know, everyone listening isn't in a similar situation. There's sometimes where a spouse is kind of like, what are you doing? This is crazy, you know, whatever. I was very fortunate there. Very fortunate. In fact, I probably would have given up a few times, but she's like, hey, you got this. And that confidence and courage really kind of kept me, okay, let's go. You know, and you know how it is. You listen to another CD and you're like, I'm back, let's go. You know, I got this thing, or go to another event or whatever it is. Long story short, in that company, I ultimately became the fastest growing distributor we had anywhere in the United States. I was traveling literally over the world. I was speaking in Moscow and Russia and Almaty, Kazakhstan when I was 29. And I was I was keynote speaker for 6,000 people at the event. I was just like, what? Now here's what I want. Let me go full circle with this.
Sure.
Remember I resented success? I resented the rich, happy, successful guy that cried on the stage and the lady that was so pretty in her Louis Vuitton. I was just like, I'm sitting in the back. I was like, I am not motivated by you guys anymore. Then I became the guy on the stage. And I was trying to tell everybody, hey, guys, I'm you. And guess what they were doing in the back? We're so happy for all your success. You know, in other words, they're kind of like, they were resenting me. And I'm like, no, guys. I know 20 minutes ago on the podcast, you started going through this list of like, it feels like this. And I'm like, I'm like, guys, I know all the feelings. I know what you're feeling. And you're wondering and you're doubting and you're not sure. Like listening right now, there's many of you listening right now. You're just like, you were done before this podcast. You're just like, guys, enough. I want to go do something else, you know? And this podcast will give you just enough breath of life, just enough inspiration to inspire means to breathe life into, right? You'll just breathe just enough light into that pilot light you have in your soul of like, I got what it takes, you know? And I had just enough of those to kind of keep me going. I'd really get me to the next event. It's like my gas gauge would be on empty. I get just enough fuel to get to the next event. The next event would fuel me for the next one, you know?
Let me also say that there are some leaders that when that happens, they become that woman or that man and people start judging them a little bit, or they feel that a little bit of resentment as far as separation, that instead of kind of managing that, they take their foot off the gas, they come back into the average. They were at excellent. They were at elite, and they walked away from elite because the separation anxiety they felt from that,
interesting,
from being judged.
I can't relate to that at all.
No, I know, but I'm sure you know people who have.
Yeah, that is so interesting. I've never heard it taught that way or explained that way.
There's separation anxiety is a real thing. You feel like I'm not one of the guys anymore. I'm not one of the group anymore.
Interesting.
Now they look at me a little bit different. They talk to me a little bit different. Yeah, they want a picture and stuff, but I still want to be, one of the guys. And sometimes there's another price of leadership, which is you have to, as a strong leader now, and I'm talking to people who expect to be strong leaders. Familiarity breeds contempt, and if you're too close and too familiar and too buddy, you're not going to be as effective of a leader than if there is a little bit of respect that's built inside of an organization. If you're hanging out a little bit too much, you're sharing your doubts and fears with them as well as your hopes.
When you're in an MLM, you are taught to keep your friends and family far away. Those who do not support you, keep them far away. But now you're also being taught that you are not supposed to get too close to your downline, who are the people that are, in my opinion, in the echo chamber with you. So now you're not allowed to be too close to any of your friends and family who don't understand why you're doing this network marketing business, but you're also not allowed to get too close to your downline, to the people that are supposed to be your friends and that are supposed to understand you and that are supposed to be on the same journey with you, alongside you. So interesting. That seems a little bit lonely to me anyway.
Dreams. You know what I mean? So have you ever had like a good friend inside of network marketing that does less because they know you better?
Yeah, of course.
And then some that don't know you as well and do more,
of course,
because they want to get into your proximity.
Absolutely.
It's just interesting leadership dynamics that happen inside all this.
And you want to know what's interesting? Just as I think of my journey. So that company, I eventually sold that business. 29, 30 years old, sold that business, actually got out of networking for the next 2 years. I thought I was done at that point. And then eventually my current business, I came in originally as a consultant to help turn around a company.
You have to have a little psychic damage by this point. One goes out of business, one sells. Yeah. And you're just like, what the heck? Can I build anything here?
Yeah. Yeah. I felt like, I want to say this. Because my guess is that some of your listeners would feel this way. I felt like the model, there was some unsustainable parts of the model that, and I'm sharing this with your listeners because you won't, this hierarchy of certainty, if you feel like it's inevitable, I'm going to build this, so it's going to fall away, you're not going to put the effort and time in.
Of course.
And so I kind of got to that point where I felt like there was some, some inefficiencies and some instabilities within the model of networking. I also thought whoever can make the next iteration and fix some of that stuff is going to completely crush, And I look at our business now, and I felt like that was one of the things. Like let's address some of these little little parts, and those were good things to address. It created opportunity.
What opened you up after 2 years of being out? What opened you up to saying okay to another look?
Okay, I think this is a good cliffhanger to leave it on because I'm hungry and I cannot listen to Eric anymore. I need a break. So we're gonna stop right there. Thank you for putting up with this. If you made it all the way to the end, I really appreciate you. I know it's a lot, especially Eric. But you're a trooper if you're still here. And if you're gonna come back for part 2, I would appreciate that. Even if you don't, I understand. It's a lot. Eric is a lot to handle and to listen to for that long, especially for that long. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to click the like and subscribe button. That's a nice way to support my channel if you'd like. And as always, big shout out to all my channel members, and I will see you guys in the next one or in the part 2. Bye.